So, US Vice President, I think we're actually going to be able to go now to the Libyan National Transitional Council. Omar Tourabi is a former advisor to them and founder of the Libyan Human Rights Commission. He joins me now live from Urban, California. Omar, a very warm welcome to the programme. First of all, can I gauge your reaction to the accusations of human trafficking on this scale in Libya?
Turbi, not Tourabi, but at any rate, this has been going on for quite some time. Even the old regime, the Gaddafi dictatorship, struggled with what they called the 5 things that were going on. Human trafficking, weapon trafficking. The Al-Qaeda used to be roaming around, now ISIS roaming around. And then you also have drug trafficking. There is corruption within the Mediterranean European system as well. Not many people are pointing to that at this point within the Italian infrastructure there as well. And also, there's a country in the Mediterranean that no one ever points or pays any attention to, the little island of Malta. There are, from what I understand, from that time frame, like 2006 or so, there were some human trafficking lords that were based in Malta that made substantial amount of money trafficking people. Libya, like many countries, the borders are very porous, very open. It's going to be extremely hard to control the borders. What is really needed is work to institute a viable government in Libya, not a failed state. The system in Libya, the government in Libya is helpless. Libya doesn't even have any diplomatic corps in Europe or in the Western world that can actually reach out effectively. You have ambassadors in Italy that are not.
My question then is, how does the UN or any other international body or country go about shoring up a proper, viable government in Libya?
Well, the UN has made several mistakes in the past 24 months by thinking they can do a coalition government in Tripoli and do away with the elected body in Tobruk. So what needs to be done? It may take 6 months, it may take 12 months, but we have to build a system, governing system in Libya that we can trust. Okay, many European nations, Italian, France, the UK, and then you go to the United States, they do not want to put any equipment on the ground because they don't trust having these equipment or weapons or machinery in the hands. It may fall on the wrong hands. So we're suffering because of that. So there has to be a system to have a security system, border security systems in place that can function. So everybody looks at this and says, how do we do this? How do we make it work? Well, without having a functioning democratic is not the word these days, a functioning government in Libya, it's going to be very hard to institute anything. The borders are very wide open. So it's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of effort, and it just can't be superficial. The Security Council has to raise the issue of borders in Libya much higher because it's going to cause many more people. 22,000, that's still a substantial number of people coming across the border to Italy. And there's going to be many more. So,
Omar, I wonder from your perspective, why are we hearing about this now? You know, we obviously, from your perspective and from many others that we've spoken to over the years here on Al Jazeera, we've known that this slave trading, if we can call it that, is happening. So why do you think this has come to the fore now? And will it make any difference that at the moment it's out there circulating on the international media?
It's been happening, and it's been there. If just because CNN picked it up 2 weeks ago, it doesn't mean it hasn't been going on. It's been going on for quite some time. Even the dictatorship of the Gaddafi regime was not able to deal with it effectively. And there were some systems that were supposed to go into place. In fact, there were substantial payments paid to large European and American firms that are in the security business in excess of $250 million that didn't go anywhere. They were frozen. The equipment still sits in Tripoli in some places. So there's got to be a much more effective way going forward. Libya is right in the center of the Mediterranean Sea, and it's a very important nation there, whether you like it or not. Something has got to be done. That stupid government in Tripoli doesn't know what they're doing. And, you know, I want to point something very important out here. Libya does not have effective contact with the European community. You have an ambassador in Holland that doesn't know even how to speak English. You have one in Italy that doesn't know how to speak Italian. You have one in London, has no contact with the British government. These idiots sit in their embassies and do no effective contact with the European community or the European government. You have a charge d'affaires in Washington that doesn't have hardly any contact with the U.S. government. So there's got to be some kind of an overhaul of the foreign contact system from Libya onto the world so that we can get some effective work in handling Libyan's borders. It is not going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of effort. And only when it gets really bad is when the Security Council is going to say, we got to step in and do something about it. It's going to take, honestly, it's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take surveillance by airplanes, on the ground, by sea. This is a very large nation. It's the size of the 1/3 of the United States. So it's going to require a lot of work.
Omar Turby there joining me from
what do we do? The UN convenes?
In California. Omar, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me. Omar Turby there, former advisor to the Libyan National Transitional Council and the founder of the Libyan Human Rights Commission. Thank you very much for joining me, sir.